Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have Emilio from PW Professional Organizers here with us to discuss ways to declutter your mind with self-care, as well as elements of a recipe for an extraordinary life. So thank you for being here with us, Emilio.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for being here, for choosing to spend your time with me and with us today. Because today we're talking about self-care. I always like to start the session by giving you a few moments to transition into the session, to take a few deep breaths. And I can also play a little bit of my singing Tibetan bowl if you guys are okay with the sound. I don't know if there is anyone opposed to the sound of this. I'm gonna play very softly. Are you guys okay with that? Yeah? Okay. So I invite you to, if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes if you want. Just sit with straight back. You can put your feet on the ground and feel the ground below you. And I invite you to just take a couple of deep breaths. You can inhale through the nose and just exhale through the mouth at a pace that feels good to you. Just take another big one. You can take this opportunity to notice what you are feeling in your body. Any tensions you may feel. I personally am feeling tension on my shoulders, a little bit of my neck. So I'm gonna breathe into that. And I invite you to remind yourself, why did you decide to join this session today? What would you like to learn? I invite you to set an intention. You can breathe into that intention a couple times. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes and you can come back to the presentation if you want. And if you feel like it, you can share in the chat, what's your intention for tonight? What's your intention for tonight? Or why did you decide to come tonight? Feel free to share in the chat, or you can unmute and share if you feel like doing that too. I'm okay to that. And in the meantime, today I'm gonna be talking about self-care, decluttering your mind with self-care, okay? And I am also going to be talking about some of the things that we share in our book, A Recipe for an Extraordinary Life. And we do creations, we call them creations. But basically a creation is something as simple as setting an intention in every area of our lives, okay? It's really doing a life scan, I call it, looking at the different areas of our life, and then reflecting about how do we feel about that area, what are things that we would like to change, things that we are celebrating, things that we would like to eliminate, and just set a few intentions in that area. A few intentions, like, doesn't have to be very complicated, it doesn't have to be very long, but basically this is an example of a very simple one that I just did for myself. And it's basically, I have some headings here. One is body, another one is mind, another one is family, another one is social, another one is stuff, my home, my physical stuff, the things that I own. Another one is giving back, and another one is work. So these are the headings that make sense to me, but you can create the headings that make sense to you, or you can create the headings that you want to be working on for the next month, 2 months, 3 months. Normally, how often do we do something like this? When we feel frustrated, when we feel lost, when we feel unfulfilled. And I say we because I do this with my wife, Samantha. We normally present together, but today she's taking care of our daughter. At this time, we don't have a babysitter, so that's why it's just me today. But basically, anytime we feel like things are not flowing the way we would like to, that's a great opportunity. That's a great sign for us to know that we need to do one of these. Okay, so this is what we call a creation. And what about the self-care list? When we talk about self-care, we talk about very, very simple activities, things that we can do that when we do them, we feel better. And self-care is care provided for you by you. Okay? It's care that you are responsible for. No one else is supposed to take care of you. Of course they can, but you are the one who needs to know what you need and what you can do. Okay, so let me read some of the things that you guys share in the chat. So I am looking at learning other ways to declutter my mind. Beautiful, Stephanie. I invite you to share what ways have you used now until now to help you declutter your mind. Have you used any methods? Feel free to share that if you feel like it, okay? Kelly says, my apartment is always a mess now that I have lost my support. I would like to learn how to keep it under control. Beautiful awareness. How we feel in our home is so important. And self-care, if you don't have an oasis to go to, if you don't have a place to relax, then practicing self-care is very difficult because you always have reminders in front of you of things that you have to do, things you have to get to. And then practicing self-care becomes the last of your priorities, and that's normal. So beautiful intention, Kelly. Brenda says, how do I turn the constant chatter off of the what to do's in my mind? Yeah, how can we, what is that switch, guys? Did you find it? I wish I could find it and just turn it off, but I can't. It's always there. But mindfulness and self-care is a great way to slow down that chatter, to really understand what's going on in our heads, and to start setting goals with more intention, start setting things that are meaningful to us, start optimizing the way we use our time, our energy, our resources. Okay, so Stephanie says, one way I take care of me is finding time to walk every day, no matter what, and no matter what the weather is. Beautiful. So clearly, walking is a self-care activity for you, Stephanie. And this is something that I will invite you to do. And I would like to ask, do you guys have your own self-care list? Have you guys ever created your own self-care list? I would like to, can you raise your hands if it's a yes, or do this if it's a no? I would like to see, or put it in the chat. Okay, that's fine. I see some fingers down. So every time I do a presentation about this topic, it was surprising to me that when we used to do them live before COVID, many times people will come at the end of the presentation to the front, and they will come to me or to my wife, and they will say, thank you. And I will say, you are welcome. Thank you for what? Say, thank you for giving me the time to be with myself and to think about this. Because if you didn't give me those 5 minutes that you gave me, I will never take them. And this is not one person, not two people. This is a lot of people that they were very grateful because they never find the time. They never make themselves a priority. Okay? This seems like it's a waste of time. It's not important. I will never get to this because I have 100 things I need to get to first. And this is a reality for many of us. Self-care becomes the last of our priorities. But what happens when we don't practice self-care? What happens when we don't feel well? How do we show up into the world? How do we show up for other people? Just think about that. How do you show up when you are not feeling well? And how do you show up when you are feeling well, when you are feeling energized, when you are feeling like I took care of myself? I did the thing that was important to me, and now I have something to give. Okay? So I will invite you to take a couple of minutes and do that. You can use a piece of paper, okay? And I want you to write your name, self-care list. So in my case, I do Emilio's self-care list. I want to invite you to do that right now. Grab a piece of paper and write on the top. You can write Sue's self-care list, Brenda's self-care list, Stephanie's self-care list. Write it on the top. You can be playful if you want. You can use colors. You can make the letters bigger, smaller. You can do something very simple, just the title, okay? Once you have that on top, I want you to think, and I am giving you a couple of minutes for you to think about what can I include in my self-care list? And I'm happy to share some examples, okay? Things that are very simple, things that every time I do them, I feel really well. And things that other people have told me, that really helps me ground. It helps me relax. It helps me slow my mind down. It helps me see things from different perspectives, okay? So, simple one, breathing. Just taking a couple of deep breaths. Allowing yourself to just stop and just like, you can even do this with your hands if you want, just, and then exhale. And then you do that 2 times, and I promise you that you are gonna feel better. I have a daughter, her name is Eva. She's 3 years old. She goes to daycare. One day she came home and she was upset, and then she was doing this. And I asked her, like, what are you doing, Eva? And she told me, I am doing the rocket ship breathing. And I said, oh, what is that? She said, they told us at school that when we're not feeling well, we need to do the rocket ship breathing. So she started doing that, and then she's like a rocket. And it was so much fun to see her. So my daughter, 3 years old, she's already aware of that. How beautiful is that, guys? We can all do that anywhere we are, anytime we are. And we don't have to do this. If you are in a public setting, you can just be quiet and you can just do it inside of you. No one needs to notice if you don't want to. But that's something that I will invite you to include in there. Okay, so you already have one thing, deep breathing. Talking about breathing, there are different techniques that you can use. One technique that you can use to de-stress, okay, to bring more oxygen into your mind, is to inhale and count maybe up to 3, up to 4, and then you exhale for double that amount, okay? You choose the number. You can start with 2. You can inhale for 2, just do it with me. Just count 1, 2, and then hold it for a couple of seconds, and then exhale for 4. By doing that simple self-care exercise, you are bringing more oxygen into your mind. When you do that, you are signaling your brain that everything is okay, that you are safe, okay? That you don't have to run, you don't have to fight, you don't have to worry. Everything is taken care of and you are safe right now. So the body can relax, okay? That's one thing that happens. Second thing that happens, you are going to think better because you have more oxygen, you have more resources. So you're gonna make better decisions. You're gonna be able to reflect more, okay? Very simple exercise. You can do it anywhere you are. Huge amounts of benefits, okay? Sue says, mind, body, soul, I connect with water, waters and trees. Mind, body, I connect with trees, water, I camp for self-care. So nature, guys, that's another thing that you can include in your self-care list. And some other cultures, they call that nature bathing. I have heard that concept. And that's the benefits that you can experience when you are in nature. Okay, you go into a forest and then you walk surrounded by trees and then you feel the energy from that forest. You can even go barefoot if you want it on the grass, and then you can notice how you are grounding yourself. that's something that calms down a lot of people. So if that's you, write it down in your self-care list. Now you have two things: breathing exercises, a walk in nature. And we are very fortunate in our area where we live. There are many beautiful parks that we can go to. They are not really far away. We can all have the opportunity to go into a park, probably not far away from home. Okay, so that's another thing that you can do. Another thing, beautiful self-care activity, drink water. Very simple, but yet we neglect that habit and we don't drink enough water. And we are 90-something% water. So if we don't drink enough water, our self-care is going to be diminished. So guys, these are 3 simple activities. Other examples that you can include in your list: petting your cat if you have a cat, your dog, spending time with a friend, watching a show that makes you laugh, reading a book that you enjoy, having a bath, enjoying a beautiful meal, listen to music, listen to a podcast that is inspiring to you, stretch on the floor, do exercise. Just start thinking. And this is the beauty of this exercise, that I am planting a seed in your brain now. Now you are going to start thinking for the next days, what can I do for self-care? And now you're going to start thinking and reflecting about it. And this is what I want you guys to start doing. What do you guys have so far in your self-care list? I would like to know, what do you guys have so far in your self-care list?
I have a few things.
Please. Thank you for unmuting. I love it. Please.
You're welcome.
I would love if you share.
I have walking every day, no matter what, like I said before.
Yeah.
And the second one is dress for a purpose, even if I am home all day and have nowhere to go.
Beautiful. So you are dressing with intention.
That's right.
Right? Because dressing with intention helps you probably set the mood, maybe helps you set the intention about what you are about to do. That's why you do that. Yeah.
That's
beautiful.
And the last point I have is, excuse me, ever since my stroke 4 years ago, in June, it was my 4-year anniversary last month. I keep a weekly calendar of all my appointments, of things to do, people to see, and it helps me squash down as much anxiety as I can get rid of, because I always have that to lean on, and there's very little uncertainty in my life, and I keep that calendar on my fridge. So anytime I'm in my condo, I can just look at it and see what's coming up in 3 months from now, 3 days from now, or 3 weeks from now.
Beautiful. So that structure is a self-care piece for you. That structure helps you ground yourself. It helps you have something to look forward to, and it helps you ease your anxiety, right? Because it's a certainty. It's, you know what's happening.
That's right.
Beautiful.
And that's essential for me. So
beautiful. So it's everybody, please notice how it's essential to him. And this is gonna look different for each of you, okay? So Stefan has his own recipe, his own methods that are working for him. He has the opportunity to explore new ones, to tweak other ones, but everybody's gonna have different ways of doing this. And this is the beauty of self-care, that you are the one who is going to decide what works for you. And you don't need to know what that is yet. You can allow yourself a little bit of time to explore. We always call it, allow yourself a testing period of time with no expectations, that you get to try different things and then see how you feel. And then you will know what you want to include and you will know what you don't want to include. So that's something that, don't put pressure on yourself. This is not an exercise. This is not one more thing to do to stress you out. It's quite the opposite. It has to be playful. Okay?
And I'm really structured, and I have to live with structure for me because it grounds me and it makes me feel better. So for me, being here tonight is those 3 things that are important to me, and hoping to tack on a few extras.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Stefan. structure is something so interesting. Some people like you love structure and it helps you slow down and feel better. Some other people have so much structure that they want flexibility and they're looking for ways to be more flexible, right? So it's important to start noticing how do you react to these ideas and start noticing if you like them or if you don't. And then that's a sign also of things that you can explore. If you are noticing like structure is like, oh, I don't want structure in my life. So maybe you need to do something that is out of structure and allow yourself to do that a few times a week so that you can feel better. Or maybe you need more structure in your life, like Stefan. So just start opening your mind to possibilities. You don't have to decide on anything set to stone now. Okay? So people say meditation, reading, journaling, walking, walk, Kundalini yoga, mindfulness, reading, pick myself flowers, and do my nails or hair or makeup, beautiful. Simple stretching and toning exercises on a yoga mat, mindfulness meditation, drinking more water. So guys, you have some ideas here that you know that they work for you, okay? So more things that you can implement when you are creating your self-care list. Now that you understand the concept, now I'm going to add layers into the self-care list for you to understand your possibilities, okay? So now that you understand what self-care is and you have started your own list, now you can start thinking of self-care activities by location, for example. Why is this important? Because if you work somewhere for 8 hours a day and then you come home, or maybe you are taking care of your parents that they are sick and you have to go to their home, or you are taking care of your granddaughter, or you are taking care of your friend, or you are volunteering and you spend 5 hours in a place. So start thinking about self-care activities that you can do by location. And this is wonderful. Why? Because you are not limiting yourself. Okay, so there are certain things that you can do at home, like I can have a bath at home, but I can probably can't have a bath at work, or I can have a bath if I'm at someone else's home. Maybe they don't even have a bathtub, they have a shower. So start thinking about what can I do when I am at that location. And if you, for example, work at an office for 8 hours, then maybe a playful way of looking at this is like, okay, I am going to allow myself 1 or 2 days and I am going to explore all the possibilities that are around me. I'm going to look at Google Maps. Are there any parks around me? Any shops, any coffee places, any things that I can go at lunchtime? What's in the office? Is there anything I can do at the office that helps me feel well? Maybe deep breathing, maybe stretching, maybe reading a book, maybe, I don't know, you start thinking about ideas. Okay, so by location, that's a fundamental one that many people said, this is great, but I cannot do this when I'm outside of my home. So you can optimize your creation, your self-care list by thinking about location. Another layer that you can add to your self-care list, by person. Okay, this is my self-care list, the latest one that I created. And please don't get overwhelmed by it. Okay, I have been doing this for years. Okay, you don't need to create this from day one. But in my self-care list, I have things I can do with Eva, with my daughter. I can rollerblade because I push her in a stroller. I can go biking because I have a bicycle trailer. I can juggle my boards when I'm in the park with her. I can play the didgeridoo. I can play cards. I can fly a kite. I can go hiking. I can go to the library. So these are things I can do with her. Things I can do with my wife. And I try to think, what can I do with my wife that is intentional? What can I do with my wife that it's nurturing our relationship? Okay, so I can play a game. We love games. We can have a power nap. We just snuggle together at home. I can prepare a nice meal for her and have it ready with a little heart. I can explore a new place and then take her as a surprise. I can do couple time, or we can do intentional dialogues. That's a technique that we learn that allows us to communicate what we are feeling in an intentional way. Things I can do in a family setting. And I have a list of things that I can do with my family. Okay, so this is another layer that allows you to be more intentional and allows you to be more playful. And this self-care list came like this because I was tweaking it as I needed. And I was noticing that from the main self-care list, I was noticing like, oh, this is great, but and now I have a daughter, so I cannot do any of these things anymore. So now I can brainstorm new things I can do with her, but that also nurture me. Okay, so you see, I am taking care of an obligation, doing a chore, or doing something that you have to do that is not negotiable, but you are adding self-care to it. Do the same with my family, do the same with my wife, and do the same with some friends. I have specific friends that I can do specific activities with them. So I try to create that there. Okay, so we have self-care list by location, and we have self-care list by person. Okay, another layer that you can add, another possibility that you have, is to think about self-care by activity type. What is that? Well, when I did my self-care list, as you notice here, there are different colors, and I have even a little square. And I said, okay, sometimes I feel like I need to relax. Sometimes I feel like I want to be creative. Sometimes I feel like I want to be physical. I need to move because I've been sitting all day. Sometimes I feel like I want to be playful. And sometimes I feel like I want to be social. So I created a color for each of those moods that are important to me. And then I thought about what activities are playful, what activities are physical, what activities are relaxing. So now I can, if I am with my daughter, for example, tomorrow I have to take care of my daughter in the afternoon from 2 p.m. until 8 p.m. and I feel like I need to move because today I sat all day, I will look at things to do with Eva that are green because green is physical. And I have rollerblading, I have biking, I can go to the park, I can go to the library because it's a walk, or I can do a little hike. So those are things that I can do that are physical. So you see how I am bringing intention into my self-care list. All these ideas are going to help you decide how you want to use your time. Okay? So how are you guys feeling so far with these ideas? And again, you don't have to come up with your self-care list today, now, with all these things. These are seeds that I am planting, okay? Seeds that I am planting in your head for you to start noticing. Yeah.
I had a question. It made me think when you were talking about by location, that to add another layer, because we live in Canada and we have 4 seasons that you can do, you can add another layer by season.
Beautiful. Perfect. That's a great idea. You can say things I can do in the winter.
That's right.
Things I can do in the summer. Things I can do in spring or fall. Mm-hmm. It's funny, Stefan, because 2 weeks ago I delivered a seminar like this for kids between 8 and 12 years old. Mm-hmm. Similar presentation, how to create your self-care list. And the kids came up with all sorts of layers, and that was one of them. It's like, it's summertime, and I want to create a list for summertime. Mm-hmm. And another one said, I want to create a list for when we are camping, because they go camping a lot. And he was thinking, what can I do when I'm camping? And then he created a list with all the things that he could do when he was camping. That's so amazing. So you see, you are starting to think and create your own self-care list with the ideas that are coming up to you. And this is what I really want. I want you to personalize your list in a way that feels good to you.
That's right. And there was one thing too with, you know, as a stroke survivor, and my memory not being the best, and sometimes struggling to think of certain things to do, that if I wrote them down the way you did on this colorful chart, then I wouldn't have to think about it. All I would need to do is just look at the chart and see summertime, the weekend, here's what I can do. And then you don't have to think about it. It's automatic.
Yeah, exactly. So I have this list, okay? And then this is another thing that you can do. Share this with the people you love. Okay. Share this with the people you live with. My wife is aware of this. And anytime I am home and I am crampy and she comes in and say, Emilio, you are in a mood. What do you think she says? She will get my journal, she will grab this and say, Emilio, please sit down and do a couple of push-ups. So, Emilio, have you done anything from here today? I want you to just juggle your balls, please, in front of me for a minute. Juggle them for now. Or come here, let's just have a hug. So she's aware of the things that I have in my list. Mm-hmm. and she created her own list. So I know what she has in her list too.
Okay.
And when I share this with my friends, so sometimes people say, hey, what is this so colorful? So that's an opportunity for me to share what this is. And then some people don't care, but some people say, that's a great idea. I have never thought about doing this. And then they come the next week with a self-care list. And it's like, wow, that's amazing. So you did your own one. So it's another tool for you to inspire others too. So yeah, communication, sharing this with other people. And Stefan, I just did a course, I created a course about executive functioning skills. And I think that that's really very relevant for you guys because it has all to do with the brain, the way we operate. And yes, working memory is a huge executive functioning skills that sometimes if you don't have something to remind yourself, you just will forget. I will forget sometimes of what I have here. So it's very helpful for me to read this again and remind myself of the possibilities that I have.
That's
So
right.
yes.
It's full proof because for me, I'm back at work. Like I never left, even though, I pretty much died twice, and it was the most traumatic, the worst stroke anyone can have. And I'm viewed at the office because I don't look any different, that I'm totally fine, but I'm not, but I exert a lot of energy through the day to do what I do. So when I come home, I don't really have a lot of mental bandwidth left. So if I had the list, I wouldn't even have to think. I could just look at it and know exactly what I could do.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the self-care list concept, okay? And then I will invite you to put this in a visual way, in a visual place that you are going to see every day. Hopefully every day you're gonna see your self-care list. Because guys, this is a habit. It has to become a habit. You are not going to start doing this from day one. You have to remind yourself. You can put a reminder in your calendar if you are a phone person, and 3 times a day it shows up. Have you practiced self-care today? And when that happens every week for a few times, a few weeks, your brain is going to start recognizing like, oh, I haven't done self-care, so I better do something. I'm gonna just deep breathe a couple times, and then you do that. Or I'm gonna sit for 10 minutes and meditate, or I'm gonna go for a walk. So you are constantly reminding your brain of the things that you could do, okay? So once you have your self-care list, then we are gonna jump into the next step. And that step is, okay, great, you have a self-care list, but now you have to find the time to practice self-care, okay? How can we find the time to practice self-care? You guys have any ideas? So May says, what happens when you lost your ability to do the things that you used to do for self-care? May, beautiful question. So you need to reassess, okay? And life is gonna keep happening. Situations are gonna keep changing. Schedules are gonna keep changing. And what today is a great self-care list for me, tomorrow it can be obsolete. Tomorrow I need to tweak it. Tomorrow maybe something changes in my life and then all of a sudden I cannot do that. Okay, so when that happens, you need to reassess. You need to think about, okay, I cannot do these things, but what can I do instead? What are other ideas that I can explore? And this is when your cognitive flexibility and other executive functioning skills come into place, and metacognition, reflecting about the way you behave, reflecting about how you function, and then really recognizing, okay, what I have been doing until now is no longer possible for me. So what can I do instead? What are my options here? And then be flexible to allow yourself time to explore new options. That's what I would tell you, okay? So how can you find the time to practice self-care? So I love an exercise, and this comes also from our creations, okay? When I talk about my creation, I share that basically what we have done now, we have created our own self-care list, and we are trying to become intentional about the things that we do to make ourselves feel better, okay? Once you do that and that becomes a habit for you and you are aware of that self-care piece for you, you can jump into doing a creation. A creation is the same concept, but you're just gonna think about areas of life, areas of your life that are important to you. For example, I have an area that is my body, my physical health, my body. So how much do I sleep? How much water do I drink? What do I eat? How much do I exercise? So all those things are helping me keep my body healthy, energized, and just feeling well. So in this creation, that this was from January 1st, 2019, I only had 3 things here. And one was do 1 salad dressing a week. So I was trying to eat more salads. So I was trying to create different salad dressings so that eating salad was more exciting to me. So that was one intention I had in here. Another intention, practice squash on my own to improve my skills. So I was playing squash at that time, and I still do. So I just wanted to become better at that sport. So I wanted to go to the gym maybe once a week at least for 1 hour, and then practice doing drills with myself. And then try to drink more water. And I created that habit. Every morning when I wake up, I will drink a full glass of water. So this is one example of how you can bring intention to that area of your life. And you can do this concept with every area of your life if you want to, or with the area that you feel the need to work on. Okay, you don't have to do your whole life all at once. Maybe you are feeling like, my home and self-care are my priorities right now. I really want to start practicing self-care every week, and I really want to declutter my home and create a space to feel better. So maybe those are your main priorities right now. So just focus on that. So again, allow yourself time to reflect, time to feel what you need, because that's gonna look different for each of you guys. Each of you are gonna have different needs at this specific time, and those needs are gonna change over time. Okay, so creations, I've been doing creations since 2000, let me think, before meeting Samantha, 2011, 2010, probably 2010 I started doing this exercise, and I started in New Zealand with a friend. I don't really know why I started doing this, but since then, this is what we have. We have my wife and I, we started doing them together. I introduced her to the idea, and I say, do you want to do a creation with me? And she said, I don't know what that is, but sure, I can do whatever you want. And we started doing this together in 2012 when we came to Canada. Okay, so we have a filing cabinet, a hanging folder full of creations. I have a folder for Emilio and a folder for Samantha. And then this is an opportunity for us to check in with ourselves. Okay, and they look different shapes, different colors, different. There is no right or wrong way. Okay, so I just want to show you some examples. This is one that we did. Okay, this is another one. Okay, nothing fancy. This is another one, very simple, no color, black and white, that's it. Okay, this is another one. Okay, so as you see, it doesn't matter how you do this. There is not a right or wrong way of doing this. The only intention is to take time from your busy life every few months to really check in with yourself. How am I feeling? How is my life? How do I feel with my body? How do I feel with my mind? How do I feel in my family? How do I feel about work? How do I feel about my relationships? Okay? How do I feel about my mindfulness, my spirituality? And then just check in with the areas that are important to you. You can rate them. You can say from 0 to 10, 0 being I feel really bad about it, and 10, I feel great about it. Where are you falling on that scale? And that's something that you can do. Rate yourself right now in every area. If you go to your body, for example, and it's a 7, and then you go to your mind and it's a 3, maybe you can focus on your mind first because it's a 3. And the body is a 7, just maintain it. Maintain that 7, or even increase it more if you want, but maybe the 3 is not great. So maybe you can focus on creating your self-care list, maybe doing this exercise, maybe thinking about how can I bring more playfulness into my life? How can I bring more self-care into my life? Okay, so this is the exercise that I invite you to do after. And you don't have to do it right now, okay? I know that I invite you to make this a ceremony, okay? I invite you to go to a special place if you can, or maybe a special place in your home. Maybe treat yourself to a special beverage or special treat. light a candle if you can, okay, play some nice music in the background, get dressed in a specific way, do whatever you need to do to make this something special for yourself. Go to that place, sit down with yourself, maybe start with a little meditation of 5 to 10 minutes in silence, see what's coming up for you, see how you feel, and then grab a piece of paper and then get started. What area of my life do I feel like doing something about now? My mind. Okay, how do I feel about my mind? I feel a 4 out of 10. Okay, why am I feeling a 4 out of 10? Because I feel I could do more self-care, because I feel I could sleep better, because I feel I could drink more water, because I feel I need to do more reading. You will start noticing the answers coming up for you. You will start noticing ideas coming up for you. Trust your instinct, okay? So you are creating time and space for yourself to check in and to notice what's coming up. What do I need to do here? And then when ideas come out, you will write them down, okay? And then once you are complete, how long does this take? I don't know, from 15 minutes up to like 2 hours. It doesn't matter. Everybody's gonna be different. Sometimes you're gonna be very emotional. Sometimes you can do this with someone else, with a good friend, with your partner. I don't know, there are no rules. You can make this as fun as you want, okay? You can just do it by yourself, that's okay too. But then once you have the areas of life and you have the bullet points of things that you want to change, then we are going to jump into the last step. The last step is actually taking action on these things. How do we take action on these things? And very quickly, by putting them in your calendar, okay? And let me tell you one thing. After helping hundreds and hundreds of people with productivity, home organization, and finding ways to do the things that they wanted to do, the best exercise I have found to help people be realistic, it's to print a week, okay? To print a week, empty week, Monday to Sunday, and then whatever time you get up until whatever time you go to bed, and then do an audit of your time. And whatever you want to see in your life, hopefully you have to reflect it in a week, okay? Majority of the things that you want to do in your life, they should be reflected in your week, except one-time vacation, except something that only happens once a year. Like, just think about it. If you want to exercise, most likely you need to exercise weekly, or you will want to exercise weekly. If you want to meditate, it's gonna happen weekly. If you wanna work, it's gonna happen weekly, unless you are seasonal. If you wanna nurture your relationship with friends, most likely it's gonna happen weekly, majority with the good friends. So start thinking about, how do I want my week to look like? And then the things that you brought on your creation, okay, it's time for you to transfer them into your week. When am I gonna make time to do this? And it's okay if you don't know now. It's okay if you are feeling overwhelmed. That's normal. I felt overwhelmed when I did this exercise. So then I will invite you to start backwards. Take that template and then start auditing how you spend your time right now. That's what I did with myself. I am an entrepreneur. I don't have a 9-to-5. I don't have structure. So for me, I was all over the place. I didn't have a boss telling me what to do. So I had to discover, like, what am I doing in a week? I have no idea. I am jumping from here to here to here with no reasoning, and I need to create structure. I need to create something that makes me feel better, more certain, more in control. So I audited my week. I did 1, 2, and 3 weeks. You can just do 1 if you want. But then after doing this, I became very aware of where my time was going. And after doing that, I started to create my ideal week. This is how we call this exercise, creating your ideal week. And this is nothing else than you setting an intention with yourself. If I could create my week, what do I want to include in that week? How do I want that week to look like? And yes, many times life is going to get on the way and you will have to tweak things, but that's okay. When that emergency ends, you have something to fall into. And then when you do 1 week, you reflect, how did I feel? Did I like doing this at this time? No. Okay, I'm gonna change it to this time. Did I enjoy that activity? I loved it. I'm gonna try and do more of that. Did I enjoy that? I hated that. Do I have to do it? No. So delete it. Do I have to do it? Yes, I have to do that. Can I delegate it to someone else? No. So can I optimize the way I do this so that I can do it as fast as possible, so that I don't waste time doing this? And then you start becoming intentional. And then these are some examples of people's ideal weeks, okay? This is a working mom, okay? This was my wife's ideal week a few months ago, okay? And then I'm happy to show you my current ideal week, the one that I currently follow. This is how it looks like. It's in my journal, okay? So once I have my ideal week, I myself put this in my calendar, in my Google Calendar, okay? And yes, I can provide a template of this if you guys want to have a template and some examples so that you can see them, okay? I see Brenda asking. So are you recording for every half hour or every 15 minutes? Brenda, it doesn't really matter. That's your choice. In my case, it goes every half an hour, okay? So mine starts at 6 a.m. and it finishes at 11:30 p.m. because that's when I go to bed. I normally go to bed at 11 p.m. and I normally get up at 7:30. So for me, that's how the day looks like. And every half an hour is good for me. Depending on the nature of your week, the nature of your work, you can do it every 15 minutes or you can do it every hour. That's your choice, okay? But basically, this is my week right now, and I have included set to stone days. So for example, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are set to stone days that I have specific activities happening at specific times, but Mondays and Fridays and the weekend, they are flexible days for me. What does that mean? I don't like to have appointments those days. I don't like to have something that requires me to be in one place at a specific time. I want to flow through that day. I want to get up and I feel like doing marketing today. I feel like going for a run. I feel like doing emails right now. So I allow myself that flexibility those 3 days. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays is my online days. That's when I do workshops, stuff like that. And Wednesdays is when we work one-on-one with clients. Okay? So that's how it looks for us. So guys, how are you feeling with this process so far? I know I throw a lot of ideas at you. Do you have any questions? Now is the time for you to unmute if you want and share your question, share what came up for you, or type it in the chat if you want. So Brown says, to help drink more water every day, I will have a glass of water in between every coffee I enjoy. That's a great idea. That's called habit stacking. That's using a habit that you already have, and then you stack a new habit on top of it. And it works really well because you already drink coffee. So I joke sometimes with people that you can get a Post-it and then you can put it on top of your cup with whatever you want to do. Maybe it is breathing twice, or maybe it's drinking a glass of water, and then you cannot pour your coffee until you remove that Post-it and you read the Post-it. So you drink some water and then you enjoy your coffee. I love it. Great idea. Okay, Kelly, bye. Will this be a good time to stop the recording? Sure, you can do that.
Thanks so much, Emilio. I'll just stop the recording here and we'll open up the floor.
Amazing.